Alright, in this video we're going to cover the Austrian Steyr model 1888, and I believe this one is 1888/90. Now there's a lot of confusion and it's often difficult to tell the different nomenclature of these guns one from the other. And what it was is the Austrians were making changes rapidly to their small arms procurement, and it throws a lot of confusion in. So let's go back to our other one, the 1888, or the 1886. I'm sorry, the 1886. After that Russian-Turkish War, 1879, everybody wanted a repeating rifle, okay, with some sort of box magazine. Manlicher's been trying to put forth his idea, but the powers to be wanted the single shots. Now they realized, hey, single shots are putting us at a disadvantage. Let's get him to make his rifle. So he came up with the 1886. And it is chambered in the 11.15, just like the Verndl, the standard cartridge of the day. Well, once they started producing these weapons, okay, they realized that this cartridge is obsolete. And what they did is they developed, and this is where I got confused and made the mistake, is the 8x52. That's 8mm by 52mm cartridge, which is the predecessor to the 8x50 Manlicher cartridge that goes in the M95. Now, that cartridge, the 8x52, alright, used black powder because they did not catch up on the technology of smokeless powder yet. So, as they were producing the original rifle, they decided to convert them to the 8x52, which was a black powder cartridge. So they stopped and was in the middle of production. They ordered so many of the 1886s that what they did is just had them rebarreled in the 8mm. I think they had to change, well, the stock would have to be recut and the trigger guard, because if you look here, this is the 11mm cartridge, and this are the clips for the 8x54s were in this. And you can see there's a difference. So they must have had to have modified the trigger guard also. So now we end up with the nomenclature of 1886/88, which were 88s made from or converted from the original 1886s. Then you have the model 1888, and what happened then is in 1890 they developed a semi-smokeless powder, okay? And when developing the semi-smokeless powder compared to the 8x52, this cartridge had a higher velocity in that, they had, and a higher pressure. They had to change the sights on these rifles. As you can see, this thing here has a plate that's been attached. Okay? Alright, first off on the markings, you see my barrel marking is 1888. So this was probably constructed as an 1888 firearm. Now, where you can tell is when you look at the sight, you see the little gap where they machined out the old numbers and put a plate with the new numbers on it. This makes this an 8890. Okay, that's how you tell. And another thing to bear notice is if you look at the thickness of the barrel shank to the receiver, right in there, and compare it to this one. If you notice this one, that barrel shank is much larger than this one. This is much like an 1886 with a very thin little barrel shank. where it screws into the receiver, the distance there. Where these are the 1890 modifications. When they went to the semi-smokeless powder, that's how you know in 1890, even though I don't have one, this is 1890/95, I believe. But that's how you can tell the difference between the 1888s and the 1890s, which were made for the semi-smokeless powder. That's the one obvious way of telling. Alright, and on my model that's a lot better, and I got this at an auction, there's the unit marking on the butt plate, and I have my Royal Tiger version here that does not have that. Okay, and like I said, the barrel date on this one is clear, 1888, and it is a nice shape. It has a nice bore. It fires them weird oversized bullets because the black powder barrels have a different type of throat, and plus they shorten the case by 2 millimeters. So that's my excellent condition one. We're going to go out and fire this once I develop some ammo. And now we're going to take a look at some of the markings on my Royal Tiger version, which is the same thing, because like I said, when you see how the sights have the plate there, this rifle also was probably in 1888 and converted once they got the new ammo. And again, small shank, and the barrel date is, if you can look at it in there, 1890. Alright, the Royal Tiger gun has a date of 1890 in its acceptance, and you can see where the plates have been put on the rear sight. So this was in 1888 modified. Now, Royal Tiger's been selling these. Somebody was asking me what grade it was. They didn't even grade them back. I bought this a long time ago, and I thought I'd get one. I can't remember what I paid, but finding a nice example nowadays, it's going to run you about 800 bucks or more if you got a nice one, like that other one I showed you. Somebody bought one of these with a shot-out bore, and it came without an extractor, without a safety, so I had to buy extra parts, and so it was not a good deal. And I did try lobbing one of them oversized bullets down there, and there is no, someone goes, what did the bore slug to? That bullet rattled. I think maybe the 320 may have gripped something in there, but that was that. So there's another example. I got another example here of this gun, and it's, you know, basically a decoration now, but another 1888. Okay, now like I said, I don't have an example of an 1890, which would be a later gun. So, because these guns were obsolete by World War I, they had 1895s, but things were so bad, they pressed these guns into service. I've seen pictures of whole units armed with these things during World War I. And that's going to bring us to our next variation of this rifle system.